The last time I talked to you people, I gave you a small introduction to the move that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to open up a dialogue with the general public so that they're aware of the elephant in the room. You got these inner cities, okay, where all these kids are out there hustling on the street, and they hustle because some of them make bad choices. You got the older people who hustle because they don't have many choices. So they do what they already know how to do. All right. A lot of them learn that stuff in jail. You know what I mean? You got a lot of mentalities in prison, and these mentalities, they're different. They're different, but they are well known by the establishment. Trump, before he became president, his main phrase was, "The system is broken." Hell yeah, the system is broken. It's broken. Trust, it is broken. All right. The system that I'm talking about is the judicial system. Judicial system. The judicial system. I gave you a small inkling. Okay, so I told you in the last segue that I was gonna go somewhere with this, and I'm gonna go there. But before I go there, before I go to that next chapter, I want to go back for just a minute and go to the did do's and didn't do's, and I'm gonna bring something up. Okay, and this is a didn't do right here, and this is page 2 of 6. Okay, number 18. Okay, this is a didn't do. All right. In 2005, I was charged with a violation of a protective order, failure to appear in the first. Those were my charges. Okay. There was another one, same person in 2005, assault third, breach of peace. Okay, these were the charges, misdemeanors, felony D. Okay, now, this was a time when I had a psycho woman who wouldn't leave me alone. And when I had told her that I didn't no longer want to see her, she just kept coming. Okay? Now, this woman stabbed me in the back. Records show, you could look at them in the hospital. I was in the hospital in Bridgeport Hospital, no, St. Vincent's Hospital, with a stab wound in my back that was so severe, it cut off circulations to my legs. So I was incapacitated, waist down, for 4 whole days behind a stab wound in the back. Meaning I was trying to get away from this woman, but she stabbed me. All right. Now, I come down the stairs, I'm stabbed in the back. I got blood running all down the back of my pants. I mean, this is just a horror flick. I'm walking down the street with blood running down my back, and it so happened to have cops. They come around the corner. They see me, they're like, holy shit. Sit down, sir, sit down on the sidewalk. So I'm sitting there, they're asking me what's going on, and I'm telling them, I don't know. And then all I remember is, like a good 3-4 minutes later, this crazy lady comes running out of the house, topless. Topless. Ah, screaming. Ah, topless. About 4 whole minutes after the cops are sitting there with me stabbed in the back, she's coming out. Ah, topless. Imagine that. Next thing you know, I'm in handcuffs. I'm in handcuffs in St. Vincent's Hospital with a stab wound in my back. Arrested. Charged with everything that I done told you about. Look that up, St. Vincent's Hospital. I got arrested for that. Stabbed in the back. I got arrested for that. That's in my criminal history. Because that's what they bring up all the time. They don't talk about the police report. They just talk about the paperwork that is written right there. Because most of the people out here, their paperwork, oh, hang them. But their paperwork is just drawn out with police, state record, check, rap sheet. So anyways, I just want to bring that up. I was stabbed in the back, and it's part of my criminal history. I was arrested. Okay, so I last left you people with what I wanted to get into, the prison system. The prison system is the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is something really big, but you can't see it. You cannot see it, okay? All right. I gave you guys an idea about how people are treated in the court. Plead guilty, and everything will be okay. But enough of those guilty pleas. Because if you look at my rap sheet and you look it up, it doesn't say it on that criminal sheet there, but it says it. But the actual one is where I pled under the Alpha Doctrine. The Alpha Doctrine says that you didn't agree with what they were charging you with, but you didn't want to fight it. I don't want to fight the state of Connecticut because the state of Connecticut, according to a lot of lawyers, Cochran being one of them, I will not take a case, state of Connecticut, because the state of Connecticut just doesn't play fair. Oh, so, all right. You got this rap sheet, you end up in prison. You're in prison now. Okay, remember I told you, pieces of shit COs. These people just talk to you any way they feel like talking to you. Most of them are straight chumps. But they've been chumped their whole life, so now they got this little nylon badge on their chest. Okay, so now the feathers roughing them all up. You can be seeing them walking down the hall like they're the biggest man on the planet. And they're little pieces of shit, 90 pounds, what? Wet. Some of them are big, but straight. But anyways, some of them are pretty cool people. But they work for the state. They work under an organization that is crazy. Anyway, so you're in the prison system. You got the COs that are treating you like shit. You got these people. I gave this analogy to a couple people, all right? Let's say if you go out with your wife and everything is all good, and then you come home and you find your house ransacked. I mean, it's just literally destroyed. Your mattress is all thrown all over the place. Your TV's on the floor. Your kids' pictures on the floor. I mean, your personal belongings is all over the place. And some of your belongings are missing. Some of the things you hold of value are missing. Okay? All right. So, this is what happens every single day in prison. You leave your cell, you go to chow. Chow's only a couple of minutes long. And you come back to your cell where all your personal belongings are. All the things that you hold valuable. These things are there. They're all in there. Okay? Letters from loved ones, pictures of your kids, pictures of your girl, whatever the case may be. Your personal belongings, your headphones, your radio, your TV, things like that. These things you hold sacred in there, okay, are just destroyed. Just destroyed. All right? Now, that's traumatizing. It would be traumatizing to you, wouldn't it? Don't you think so? It'd be traumatizing to you, wouldn't it? I think so. Okay. Now, I say this so that I can get the idea of, see, this traumatizing event happens every single day. But being that you're in the prison system, it is now has become normal to you. That traumatizing event is now normal to you. Okay. 1. 2. You got the CEOs that just talk to you like you're just nothing, like you are nobody, all right? You got women that talk to you like you're nobody. You got the men that talk to you like you're nobody. You just nobody at all in there. You got nurses in there. These are civilians. They ain't got no authority to try to talk to you like that. But the Department of Corrections gives them that authority, so they use it. And guys, remember, power corrupts. Power corrupts. So you give these people that kind of power over a lot of people. That's a lot of power. Because it's a multiple, it's a lot of people in there. You got thousands of people in the prison system. You got this one person with the kind of power to all those people. You could take one CO, and put him on a microphone in 1,000 people, all these things. And you could take that one CO and have that CO say, I'm giving you a direct order, sit down. Everybody will sit down. That's a lot of power. That kind of power corrupts. Power in general corrupts. So anyways, you got these knucklehead CEOs who run around here with that kind of power, and they talk to you. They treat you like pure shit. They talk to you like shit. They treat you like shit. You are shit to them. This is it. You're shit. All right? Okay. So, every day that passes by, you are dealing with CEOs that have no respect for no one. Okay? And they talk to you like you're shit. All right? All that suppression, all that anger, that bitterness that dwells in you towards this person who is no better than you, and you know it. Just because you're in tans and they're in blues don't mean shit, and you know it. But you gotta bow down to this man. Okay. Bowing down has become normal. Bowing down to an entity that comes into your home and destroys it, and you see him and you know he's doing it, becomes normal to you. Okay. These kind of acts against people change a man's mind. When you come out of the system, you are no longer normal. You are no longer functioning on a normal level. Because when we're born as little kids. We're little kids, we grow up, we learn things from our parents. What we see, what we hear, what we're taught, and all these other kind of things, okay? We weren't born adults, all right? So it's a process. You're learning how to be a man. You're learning how to be a child. You're learning along your way, okay? Now, someone in my position, which there are many, okay, the kind of learning that was prevalent to me, the kind of learning that was available was not a clear-cut pattern. I give this analogy to people, right? You got a mathematical solution on the board, okay? It's math. You see it, it's math, all right? So you ask somebody, hey, what's that? And they tell you, oh, it's mathematics. You say, okay, yeah, it's mathematics. You're right. All right. Well, what's the answer? What's the answer? Well, the guy says, I don't know. So why don't you know it? Because I never was taught that kind of math. I don't know what that kind of math is. I know it's math, but I don't know what kind of math it is. Okay. The same thing applies for if you grow up not learning how to keep a job, not understanding the value of a dollar. Okay. These are things that you have to learn as you go. That's why they have Head Start jobs, jobs that take you, like, teach you the structure and the value of a dollar. They have these kind of things, okay, so that you could learn and grow in them, so that you could learn and how to keep a job, how to function in the job environment, how to be a good employee, how to do these things. You know what I'm saying? How to budget money, these things like that. You have to learn these things from a child to a growing man. You have to learn these things, and if you've never learned them, then you don't know how to do them. Just like that math solution. You don't know how to do them. So then you got people in the prison system who is not being taught anything. Okay? They're not being taught nothing. In there, you just warehouse. That's it. You're a number, a commodity. All right? You're a commodity. That's why they call you by your number. 2111157. That's my number. They call you by your number. All right? They don't call you by your name. They call you number. You're a commodity to these people. You bring home the bacon. You're the one who sends their kids to school, college, buy their new car. You're the one. Your number does that. All right. Now, you are now no longer normal, and you're being suppressed all the time. So now this compounding anger, bitterness, resentments, all these things happening to you. Okay? And that's just how they need you to be. Because you can imagine if they teach you something in there, then we won't need prisons. We won't need courthouses. We won't even need the cops. Okay? We won't need probation officers. We won't need parole officers. That's a whole slew of jobs that will no longer be needed. And these are some high-paying jobs. Hell yeah. Okay, so if they teach you something in there, then all these things are at risk. All right. So now we get to some paperwork that I have that was brought to my attention in 2008 by my wife, ex-wife, okay, who told me she found this in the internet because she was looking for possible complications. Let's use that word. Complications to a person who's been in prison. Possible behaviors that are not normal. This woman knows nothing about jail, nothing about that, and she thought that I was abnormal. Now, this is something that I really didn't see. Remember, I've been in and out of prison. I told you in the first segue, I've been in jail for many, many years, and this was the story that I'm tapping into. I'm going somewhere with all this stuff that I'm telling you. Remember, the elephant in the room. Okay. So, she bring me some paperwork, and it is called post-incarceration syndrome. Post-incarceration syndrome, from what I know, because as soon as I read that paperwork that she left me on the bookmarks in that computer in 2008, when I read that, I said, holy shit, this is me. I behave like this. I respond to certain things in this manner. Me. So I got this idea, and I said, you know what? I know a lot of people that's been in the system. Let me bring it along to these people. Let me bring it to these people so that they can read it and tell me if they agree. Everybody I brought it to said, holy shit, what is this, Pete? I said, this is some deep shit, man. Okay, so post-incarceration syndrome, written by a doctor out of California who told me personally that, well, his secretary told me personally that this paper was written by a man, a doctor, who so happened to have been on, where was he, on retreat at that time, or some place, wherever he was. I don't remember when it was when I spoke to his secretary. She said that it was written over a period of 20 years of research on recidivism, men and women. Okay, men and women, the recidivism. You know what recidivism is, right? Repetitive, always being back in prison, always being back in prison. Now, the percentages is something like 80-something%, something like that. 80-something percent versus the other 15 or something, 15 or so percent. Right? Okay. There's the elephant in the room. There's the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is the recidivism rate. If the percentages are that high, then who's dropping the ball? Who's dropping the ball? Is it the criminal? The man who was put in the prison system, not taught anything, given no kind of ideas of what is normal, all right, suppressed, talked to like he's shit, okay, came into his house, discombobulated everything in there, just ransacked it, okay, these are traumatic events that are happening to him, okay, these things are happening to him all the time, but yet and still, you expect him to come out into society and function normally. He's no longer normal. He's not going to function normally. So the recidivism. He's a man who has undergone all these situations, but you expect him to respond normal. It doesn't happen for him. So he is now labeled a criminal. Why is the recidivism so high? Is this not the Department of Correction? Correction. Look it up in the dictionary. Correction. It's to correct, to change. Okay. That's the elephant in the room, people. The recidivism in itself. The system is broken. But that's just how they want it. That's just exactly how they want it. That's how Trump became president. The system is broken. And there's a lot of people out there that know it's broken. But I wanted to take down a notch. Not from government, down state. That part of the system is broken too. The Department of Corrections is by far the most corrupt organization in the United States. I don't know what it's like in other countries, or should I say in other towns of the United States, but I sure as hell know what it's like in Connecticut. And Connecticut's system is crazy. Connecticut's system locks you up. It doesn't matter how the case may be or what it may look like, okay? And then you got some cornball ass public pretender talking about plead guilty. Because that bum ass motherfucker don't want to do his job. Or maybe he is doing his job. His job consists of making you plead guilty. I don't know. But anyways. So. The recidivism being as high as it is. And nobody's paying attention to it. Okay. They're blaming the criminal, they're blaming the man for his behaviors, okay? But he just came out of the Department of Corrections, and I done gave you a small inkling about these programs that they're being budgeted for, which ain't doing nothing for you, okay? But they're being budgeted for these things. Recidivism. The elephant in the room. The Department of Corrections, the judicial system, comes into the homes of those less fortunate and only brings chaos, drama, destabilization. They destroy the mentality of your kids. Kids now look at cops and they say, oh my God, that's the enemy. How's this possible and nobody's paying attention to it? How's it possible for Christian Cordero from Troubleshooters NBC to be on TV talking about how, why was this man let out early? But the $1 million question is, Why did this man come out in the same way that he went in, and somewhat even worse? Why did this man continuously come out progressing his criminal behavior when he was just in a place where he should have been corrected? There should have been some way of teaching him how to be normal. And to teach someone how to be normal, you don't take a child and start beating that kid so that that kid could start learning how to be normal. Because if you beat him and beat him and beat him, the only thing that you're going to get out of that kid is anger and violence. You have to take your time to teach this person how to respond in certain ways during certain situations. But if you're taking them and just depressing them and talking to him like he ain't shit, then the monster that you see is what you're going to get. These monsters are being created by the judicial system and the prison system. The prison system. I'm going to give you one more scenario. Gangs. That's a deep one. Trump was talking about it. MS-13. Lion Kings. Whatever the hell. Okay. There is a gang that nobody's aware of. And it's called the DOC. The Department of Corrections. The DOC has members who kill people. And they get away with it. The DOC has destroyed lives on levels that reach far past any kind of destruction, any kind of organization, and a corrupt organization, organized crime. Mafias have not reached the level that the DOC has reached. John Gotti would be envious. The elephant in the room comes in many forms. It is sitting right there. In all your lower income houses, it is sitting there. Because maybe 1 out of 10 has someone in the prison system. Then you got your middle class. Maybe 1 out of 15 has someone in the prison system. Okay? And now you have your upper class. These opioid epidemics is just running rampant all over the place. Now, as far as that paperwork that I was telling you about, it's called PICS, Post-Incarceration Syndrome. I had it. Way right there. My coffee. In prison, they give you chickpea coffee. Bet you don't know that. All right. This is the paperwork right here. I'll give you the first page. See it? Read it. Post-incarceration syndrome. 2008. It says here, post-incarceration syndrome pictures a mixed mental disorder with 4 clusters of symptoms. Okay. Institutionalized personality trait. personality trait resulting from the common deprivations of incarceration, a chronic state of learned helplessness in the face of prison authorities, and antisocial defenses in dealing with the predatory inmate milieu, meaning environment surrounding. Okay, a learned helplessness. You got some dumbass, cornball ass CEO, okay, who weigh 90 pounds, all right, talking to you like you just like the worst, like you just nobody, like you're a scumbag, like you're just dirt, okay? But you can't say nothing to this person. And he could talk to you for no reason at all, like ain't nothing. And you can't say nothing to this person because when you say something to this person, a whole world of hurt comes to you. Now the gang with the DOC comes down on you hard. And that's what it is, a gang. MS-13 ain't got nothing on DOC. Latin Kings ain't never even seen that kind of level. No gang. Crips, Bloods, whatever. The DOC is on top of them all. DOC. Remember that. All right. Second one is, we know this one well. Our armed forces suffer from this. Most of them. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Oh my God. In a prison situation, post-traumatic stress disorder. How is that happening? How is this possible? And it tells you from both pre-incarceration trauma and trauma experience within the institution. Pre-incarceration, meaning before you were incarcerated. See, for me, I grew up in an abusive home. So I had pre-existing conditions. And then I was put in a system by being illegally convicted because I had some punk ass little pretender talking to me and telling me, plead guilty. So that happened over and over again. So that already wrestled in my mind. I was in prison. So there was pre-existing conditions already. The third one is antisocial personality trait, ASPT, developed as a coping response to institutional abuse and a predatory prison milieu. Predatories in prison, the predators in prison, all right? I don't know how to define them. The only way that I can define them is that they're bigger than the little white kid that runs around. They're just bigger. Because the mentality is for shit. I mean, you know, I don't like bullies. So when I see bullies, I want to beat them up. I just don't like bullies. I was always like that. You know, I don't like bullies. Maybe because I was bullied when I was a little kid. Then I grew up. Now I'm 6'2", 220 pounds, and I'm not having it. So anyways, so to define a predator in prison is only to say that he's a punk with a little bit of weight on him. That's what he is. And they pick and choose who they can bully. Just like the average bully out there. They pick and choose who they can bully. And then finally, the bully says, the victim says, you know what, I got you. That's what happens. So anyways, the fourth one is social sensory deprivation syndrome, caused by prolonged exposure to solitary confinement that radically restricts social contact and sensory stimulation. Sensory stimulation. Okay. Sensory stimulation is a trip because, you see, what I had described to you about them coming into your cell and ransacking it, okay, you have these emotions, you have these feelings, you have these things in you, but you can't, it's just, you can't do nothing about it. So they're in there, but you can't do nothing about it. So now the neurons and synapses firing up in your brain, and it's firing in your brain in that certain direction. And for those people who are now equipped with understanding the human mind and the brain, they know that these things, you know, like the brain it changes, it forms all the time. Okay, so the mind of a man who's been in prison, his synapses and neurons are firing in certain directions all the time. So that's what you're gonna get. Okay. Number 5 is substance use disorder caused by the use of alcohol and other drugs to manage or escape the Pick's syndromes. Sound familiar to those of you who've been in prison? Sound familiar? Sound familiar to those of you who have a loved one in the prison system? He's just not normal. Something's wrong with him. Oh my God. They're doing this to you, man. The elephant in the room, remember? They're doing this. They're doing this to you. And then they're blaming you for it. When you respond the way they're hoping you respond, because you bring the money, going back to prison, you're the paycheck. You're the man. You a commodity. Number 21157. Anybody ever pay attention to that? No. The elephant is there blowing his horn right in your living room. You hear it yet? See, this attacks your finances, because if you're already in a low income situation, now you got to deal with the people that are in prison. You got to send them money, which cuts into your budget. Okay, and trust me, and there it is. They sell you a TV that is no bigger than the phone that I'm using right now to make this video. Okay, they sell it to you for $300. It costs about $1 something to make. It's a cheap ass TV too. If you're looking at it from the side, you can't see it. It's crazy, but they're selling it to you for almost $300. A little radio that you can get from the dollar store that costs you about $1.99. They're selling to you in there for $30. Whose pocket that come out of? Your family. The elephant in the room. See, now they're contributing to the poverty level. Anybody paying attention to that? I'm going to go along with remember, this is called post-incarceration syndrome. Please, America, look into it. It's important. This is page 4 of 6 pages. Post-release symptom progression. Post-release symptom progression. Stage 1 of this post-release syndrome is marked by helplessness and hopelessness due to the inability to develop a plan for community reentry, often complicated by the inability to secure funding or treatment or job training. I put in there, and homelessness, because that's a hard one. That's a big one. I dealt with that many times. That's why, I don't really have a good rapport with my family, because I had never done nothing to these people. But see, they never investigated why I was getting arrested so many times, get put in prison all the time. They just, you're the one to blame. And yeah, to some degree, yeah, I was. There's many times that I was the one to blame. I done put myself in situations that I shouldn't have been in. So I ain't Mr. Angel here, okay? But I strongly disagree with their turn backs. So, all right, now stage 2 is marked by an intense, immobilizing fear. I'm speaking to those people who are out there who've been in prison. Have you ever dealt with these kind of situations? I have. I've been in prison. That's fear. Oh my God. How, what am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, what am I going to do, man? I ain't got no clothes. I ain't got no food. I'm going to be homeless, man. Stage 3 is marked by the emergence of intense free-floating anger and rage and the emergence of flashbacks and other symptoms of PTSD. Stage 4 is marked by the tendency towards impulse violence upon minimal provocation. See, that one's easy because, see, that one comes from all that suppression from that punk-ass CO who you want to light up, but you can't. So now you in the world. You got dudes that trigger, that pent-up anger comes out in a blink of an eye. See, but that same pent-up anger comes out in the blink of an eye when you're in the prison system against the inmates, not the COs. So you got to have two mentalities in there. And it talks about this in that paper. You have to have two mentalities. You got to bow down to the cop, but then you'll beat the crap out of an inmate for a soup. But you see, that pent-up energy towards the cop is what you walk around with in there all the time. Walking around with it in there all the time. It's in there, it's in there. Okay, that's how the fights break out. That's how things happen in there. Okay, but you see, they promote that shit. They want you to be like that so that they can say, yo, we need more money. Stop laying us off. We need more money. Look, they're animals. They want you to be like that. Stage 5 is marked by an effort to avoid violence by severe isolation, to avoid the triggers of violence. Sound familiar? A lot of people just duck into a shell. You know that guy that you have in your basement, Mom, who's 40 years old and is always in that basement just medicating himself? He don't want to go nowhere. He don't want to do nothing. He don't even want to get a job because he don't know how to be an employee. You know that guy, right? You guys all know that guy, Uncle Pete. You know him, right? Yeah, that guy who's always isolated. That guy who's always alone. That guy who just doesn't know how to respond in any kind of situation. Yeah, you know that guy. Stage 6 is marked by the intensification of flashbacks, nightmares, sleep impairments, and impulse control problems caused by self-imposed isolation. This leads to acting out behaviors, aggression, violence, and crime, which in turn sets the stage for arrest and incarceration. All this stuff sounds familiar to you? Do use people who have been in the prison system or have a loved one who's been in the prison system. That sounds familiar to you? The elephant in the room. Is anybody paying attention to it? He's in there, screaming. Can you see him yet? Is it becoming transparent to you? Can you see him? He's standing there. Got his trunk all up in the air, blowing away, blowing away. He's sitting there. You see him? These are the things that I'm trying to bring to your attention about entity. Okay? You got attorneys that will not take cases, clear-cut cases against the Department of Correction or the judicial system because I don't even know why. I can't even give you that answer. I got letters over there from attorneys that I done sent these people, all right, letters telling them some situations that I was going through, which is some life-threatening stuff, okay? Health stuff. Which that's a whole nother segue. That's a whole nother bid about what I'm about to tell you. Okay, like I told you in the beginning of this, I'm going somewhere with this. I got letters from lawyers that you see on TV. Call me, we'll help you. Call me, we'll help you. I done sent letters to the news people saying, if you got a problem, give us a call. We'll help you. We're there for you. Comes to the Department of Corrections, nobody's in there. Nobody's looking. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody. The elephant in the room. So I'm going to leave you with this before I go into the next chapter of what happened to me in the prison system. That you're not going to be seeing my face for too much longer, because I got a battle ahead of me. A battle. And it was allowed to happen to me inside the prison system by the corrupt prison system, by the adoptive, abusive ways of the prison system. The judicial system is part of that. Okay? Because we're going to talk about all of that. So I'm going to give you this last part where I'm going to say to you what the man said on his paperwork. And if you look this paperwork up, you will see that it rings true. Every part about it, he started talking about how the drugs are just going to start flooding middle-aged, middle-income houses, how it's going to seep into the suburbanite areas, and how it was all going to play a role. And he was right. And this paper was written in 1994. I never saw it before until 2008. But according to his paperwork, 1994 is when he started the process. Okay, so the epidemic can be best prevented and public safety protected by changing the public policies that call for incarcerating more people for longer periods of time, for less severe offenses, and more punitive environments that emphasize the use of solitary confinement, that eliminates the severely restrict prisoners' access to education, vocation, and rehabilitation programs while incarcerated. You really think that they want to do that? Remember, all these jobs are at risk. If they could prove that they are the sole culprits to the crime wave that we have on the streets, to the drug epidemic that is out there, okay? Man, holy man. That's a lot of jobs. Gone. Gone. See y'all later.